Welcome back to We Care a Lot. I'm half the pod Sam.
I'm the other half Mel.
Hey, we're back. And today we're actually drinking something special during regular content.
Like regular hours.
Regular programming. It's just hibiscus tea, but...
If you didn't watch our episode last week of our obsessions, our current obsessions, this is currently one of Sam's current obsessions. I said current like
currently
so many...
one of my most current of the
obsessions.
current obsessions.
Right. Anyway.
But factual. It's fun and easy and healthy. Good way to brighten up the day.
A fun thing that you can also do now if you like start making your own tea.
Mm-hmm.
You can use leaves to start dyeing stuff.
I know.
So fun.
Like a light pink
like a light
something.
pink vibe.
That'd be cute. Anyways, today's topic is rejection is redirection. And it just feels... I mean, I wouldn't say it's like... It's not relevant, but it's not like the most relevant rejection has ever been in our lives.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
But it's still relevant. I think it's always relevant to be rejected.
We're constantly getting rejected, you know?
I'm just like constantly living in rejection. But you kind of are low key. Like,
and I think that's the biggest point is like not being afraid of the rejection because it's so constant that you need to just be okay with it and realize that it really is like redirection, or you're really making space for something different because you don't see it in the moment, and we never do.
Never.
But like I think like you said, it's not super current, but I think we're both in a place where we like can kind of see where the rejection took us in a sense.
That's fair.
And where we're like at now.
Still being rejected,
but
in different ways.
Yeah.
If you don't know or like haven't followed us, basically Mel and I owned a agency together, consulting agency for marketing. And girl, we learned a lot. Like, so much.
A lot quickly, also.
Yeah, very fast, and during COVID. So it was a very fun, interesting time, and I wouldn't take it back. But with that being said, we also did a whole episode where we live quit. Like, in the moment, decided to basically stop running the business, which is so wild to think about.
I haven't looked back at that episode.
I haven't either.
But I'm like, I wonder what we were originally like trying to talk about.
What the thought was. Yeah.
Because we definitely didn't sit down. We were like, hey, we're going to quit today. I think it was like something about how we were feeling in a rut or something. And then we were like, honestly,
what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah. That's why this podcast really is like therapy in a lot of ways. Because we just like talk through everything. Mm-hmm. Not always like everything, but like through the topics that are like top of mind for us, and just also the world. Brat Summer, hello. But yeah, I feel like we somehow like devolve into like, oh, maybe I could reflect on that. Even if we don't talk about it in the episode, it'll be like, I'm taking that piece with me, or whatever. And it creates topics for us with our friends, low key.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
But anyways, so with that being said, we were heavily rejected all the time back then, and that's what led us down this path of like, let's maybe shift our focus. Like, we're being rejected a lot, and maybe there's a purpose behind that, and the purpose brought us here.
Right.
Yeah.
And before you say like maybe you just like weren't good.
Before you guys are fucking
rip me a new one, I will say that we were very good at the things we were doing. I just don't I think we weren't well connected, to be quite honest, and weren't trying to be well connected.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you just like kind of cold call, you know? It's, I think that's my like biggest piece of like, if anyone ever wants to start something that's like consulting based, make your connections, girl.
Yeah. I think that's hard. How they thrive these days is like usually... I mean, our mentor back in the day told us that, like, oh, everyone graduates college and then starts doing consulting stuff. And it's definitely a grind, definitely a hustle.
Yeah.
But I think the more successful consulting comes from retirement. Like, once you've made all your business connections, all your industry, like, obviously that's not the only way to do it. But one of the biggest ways, even if retirement is at 35 and you're like, oh, I've, like, worked at so many places and now I'm going to use those, not use, that's a horrible way to say it, but... capitalize, I don't know the good word.
Yeah.
Use my resources, basically. And
right.
connections.
I think it's also like we were kind of a little misled on how like
supported we were
supported
gonna be.
we were. But also like I'm also just saying like I think it doesn't necessarily, obviously you could still make it by coming right out of college or whenever the hell you want to and starting young. I think it's also just like it would have been a lot less of a pressure if we had something else to base our lives off of, and then done this thing that was like maybe it'll take off, and like there was like less pressure. But because this was like our world and our like literal child, it was like, I don't know, it was just hard. And constantly getting rejected is not fun. And it's not even just like rejected, it's like completely ignored. Like a lot of the time wasn't even like a simple answer of like, no thank you. It was no answer. Yeah.
And it's also like with that there was no redirection specifically from anyone else. It was like the redirection had to come from us.
Yeah.
And after a certain point we're like, okay, apparently the redirection is like, this isn't working, whatever that is, because we don't even know what this is like anymore.
Yeah.
But also with redirection, I feel like everyone wants to be like, it's redirection and it's so positive, and it is definitely positive, but it doesn't always feel positive. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh well, the next thing you're getting like moved on to is going to be the thing or whatever. Like it's still redirection, just down a different path than you thought. Doesn't necessarily mean like, okay, you got rejected, relevant. You're just going to get your dream job next then. It's like, well...
Yeah, I think, like, that has become, like, a very unrealistic, like, standard based on, like, I don't know, I guess...
Our own thoughts.
Our own thoughts, but also just, like, the TikTok of it all of, like, manifest the life, romanticize your life. Like, all of that is great. And, yes, but I think there's, like, a level of not understanding that it doesn't come immediately.
Yeah.
And listen, neither of us are also in our dream job yet or doing the things that like I think are completely like fulfilling. However, I do think that we've found a lot more stability and a lot more I guess like creative freedom is in there too. But in general, like at least I could say for myself, like in being rejected from making our own business and all that, I've come to taking very obscure jobs that I thought I would never do. Or like they weren't even an option that I could think of. And I mean it's taught me a lot in a lot of other ways, or like different ways. And so I think one thing led to the next, and then now I'm like, I don't know, I never thought that I would be working for the company that I'm working for, and I feel like it's just it's nothing that I could have seen previously. And also with that said, like after we had like said we were done and we're gonna like move on from it, I was like, all right, I'm going the corporate route, like see you later. And I took it so hard when I got rejected from this one job that I was going for, that I literally thought I had in the bag. And I just couldn't understand, like, what am I, like, I'm trying so hard to do the thing that I feel like I'm being directed to do now that this other thing hasn't worked for me. And I took it harder because it was like another sense of rejection of like the opposite end of what I thought I was supposed to be doing.
Still wasn't it.
And it still wasn't it. And it was really hard to like recognize what the purpose of it all was. And I'm not saying like the job that I have now is the purpose, but it's like it's a step to whatever the purpose was.
Right.
And it's a lot easier to look back and say like, well, yeah, like you definitely would not have been doing this if this happened.
happy doing that thing,
maybe
potentially
potentially like it just, and it's hard to like zoom out because you're in it so badly sometimes.
I feel like we also get so caught up in like the like not the dream of it all, but like the literal dream of the people that go viral on TikTok or whatever, and it's like, oh, it seems so easy, but like, not saying this is our journey either, but like we could go viral tomorrow. That doesn't erase like all the rejection we had prior, and that doesn't erase those people's like versions of rejection. And it's hard to sum up someone's entire life in a 30-second video on TikTok, or even this podcast. Like we cannot sum up our whole lives
in the
you just can't
hundreds
of episodes. You just can't.
And
I think that's why we struggle as freaking humans to like absorb so many people's lives and stories, and to like take it not personally.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, well, it appears this way, so this is the truth. That's not.
That is like also something that I feel like I'm seeing on a different perspective of like, yes, like you just said, all of us can technically all go viral at some point. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't erase the previous rejections and the previous feelings that have happened. And I feel like I see that a lot with actually people who end up then becoming like full-blown influencers, and like who have had like these like moments of feeling rejected by the world. And this is a different sense of rejection, not like a career sense of rejection. I mean, maybe too, but like,
yeah,
who have been rejected in some other ways by the world, and then they get their glimpse of like non-rejection and full-on like acceptance or like love and appreciation and fame, and it doesn't fix the feelings of rejection that have previously been there.
Yeah,
you know, it becomes like a self-entitlement thing, or like, you know, like this is what, like, what's the word, like, this is what I deserve, which you do. But I think like when you work in that way, then you realize that like the unhealed parts and the things that you didn't understand were redirection, it only leaves you to like, I don't, almost like self-destruct in a way, because like you're not letting yourself understand that like this was all meant for a purpose. Instead you're like relying on, I don't even know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, disvaluing, I guess, the rejection as, like, just something to move on from, maybe, as opposed to, like, that was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I feel like it can create, like, this, like, unhealthy relationship with success, in a way.
I mean, the truth is you're never going to be, like, fully happy and fulfilled with what you've accomplished, I think. I mean, I think maybe at the end of your life you could be like, I did a lot, I'm satisfied, like I did what I could in this world or whatever. But I don't think you're ever gonna feel like I did everything I dreamed of. I don't know, maybe people do, but I just don't think that like it's realistic to feel like once you get to that place of success that you're done. Yeah, because then it's like, well, then what's the point of living, low key? Yeah. Like, if that's the way we all felt, and we don't for a reason. That's why there's so many, like, phases of life, and, like, yeah. I think that's...
Sorry, go ahead.
I just feel like rejection as redirection is, like, that's why it's positive, but also just, like, it just is.
It's, like, it's just, like, the radical acceptance of your current state.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think... You just said, like, maybe it's not necessarily, like, realistic, I guess, to think that, like, all of that's gonna, like, all the success, like, I don't know, if you get too comfortable, I guess, in just, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, you can continue to, like, keep dreaming, and I think accomplishing something should have its moment, and I think, like, that's why sometimes, even on, like, the like radical acceptance of it all, sometimes when you don't sit in like the success or like the accomplishment, you do like see more so like the rejection point, and not in a positive way where you're like, that was just a redirection. It's more so like, I'm unworthy, or I have to prove something right,
myself.
Yeah,
I don't know why it made me think of Kim Kardashian, like the way that she just can't stop.
It's like, girl, it's like, I think now, like, I don't even watch her show anymore, but like, it's now kind of like even sad not sad. That's kind of rude, because I'm like, you're literally a billionaire, but like, there's no need to feel
sad for her to be a billionaire.
But it seems like she keeps chasing something that is uncatchable. Is that a word? Unattainable.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what she's trying to achieve. I mean, period, I guess. Like, just like the kids of it all, you know, like having her own kids, and just like how much can you, like, I feel spread thin, and I am not Kim Kardashian. Like,
I know, I think about that often. I'm like, she has 24 hours in a day, and I do too, and what does she do?
I mean, she has a lot of money to pay other people to do the things that she doesn't have time for.
That's true.
Mostly what happens, but
I'm also not fabricating like stories about myself. Maybe I should.
Maybe we should start living more like him.
Start making. If you see a hate account, it's not me.
Hating on us?
Yeah.
my god, these
what a marketing
two dumb
tactic,
girls.
though. Get people to listen.
If anyone wants to do it. Just kidding. But anyways, I feel like a big piece of like rejection, I mean, a ton of people say like every success has like a million failures or no's behind it.
Yeah.
Which is true. Like, that's why we're all so like, oh my god, it's so inspiring that Steve Jobs started in a garage or whatever. Like, facts. We all start somewhere. And if you don't try, I think that's like the whole point of rejection is redirection, is that like if you're not trying, then you're not getting rejected, and where are you gonna go? Yeah. Like,
oh my god, that the whole like a million no's or whatever is just so prevalent in like the whole Chapel Roan of it all.
Oh yeah.
Like her career is basically taken like, I don't know how many years, like 8 to 10 years to like exist, but everyone thinks of her as like this overnight success. But she's like had to come to LA, move back home, move to New York, move back to LA, and then she finally, I don't know why, just all of a sudden started.
I feel like she changed
off.
her branding,
her like
a little.
Aesthetics, yeah, a little bit, but also just like in general,
the universe wasn't ready for her.
It wasn't ready.
Honestly, I
mean, even I don't think she was even ready for herself, because she came out and now she's a full-blown like lesbian, and I don't think she was ready to like connect in that way that she's supposed to. You know what I mean?
That made me think of Janice from Mean Girls. She's just a fucking lesbian or something. What did she say? I don't know. But yeah, it's true. So like,
but even her now, like, she's so terrified of the success that's happening. She's like, I need to reel it back in.
Right. Like,
I'm so interesting.
I'm okay to be not super famous again.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But I think that's also a big part of like rejection just being is what it is. Like, obviously you can feel sad or whatever about like a feeling towards something that you were excited about, of course. But at the same time, for me, I feel like, okay, well, like, it wasn't meant to be. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And whatever is meant for me is coming when it's supposed to. And like, in all facets, in the chaperone way, like, we aren't ready, the universe isn't ready, so like whenever it's all supposed to align, that's when it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Which is like, on one hand, I guess like a relief, because you're like, I don't have to do anything, kind of like, it's just like, it is what it is,
it will happen.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, it's like, I can't do it, like, I want it, like, how do I get it? And it's like, I don't know.
I think it's like I think there's like some like spiritual aspect to all that, where like, if you feel a certain calling, obviously, like in Chapel Roan's example for today's episode, sponsored by, but I feel like in her, if she just stopped doing music and just went back to the Midwest and didn't do anything, obviously this wouldn't have happened. So it's like, you still have to have the action piece, of like moving forward from the rejection and continuing to believe in yourself, that there's a greater purpose for this thing that you're doing. Yeah. Whether or not it's like fame or whatever, but like just the greater purpose of meeting this like overall thing that you're like, wow, that's what this was for. This is what I was for. Low-key, to part of it. I mean, not everyone, I guess, has like that super big urge or calling towards something like solid like that. Like, they just want to live. Big concept, you mean? Right. Like, yeah, like a big concept like of a career choice, or like whatever it is. Like, some people, I mean, in some ways this is a big calling. Like, I just want to relax and vacation all the time. Like, that's my calling. Right, that's my calling, babe. And let me take my little like silly pictures, and I'm maybe answering the phone. Are you there? Are you there? Hi, God, it's me, Mel. I'm here. No, but like, I meant it more in like the nomad. Yeah. They're on the van life type beat. Not really my calling. Not my calling. I would pick up for a short bit and then put it back down. But that's what I mean. Like, people do have big callings that don't make, like, to us, we see like this big picture of like even career. Like, I feel like that's such a big calling for a lot of people. Yeah. And purpose. But at the end of the day, even right now, today, we think our big purpose or whatever, as far as I know, yours and mine, is like something career related. Like, I don't mine like saying? I feel like we both feel that way. Like, we both feel like something in our career is going to be something that fulfills us so deeply. Yeah. But we could be wrong. Yeah, we could be fucking wrong, girl. Maybe we'll have kids and then we'll be like, ate them up. Like, I love this life. Set and done. Right. Like, purpose fulfilled. I don't know.
And maybe.
I feel like my guts know.
But you never know. Not to
or
say.
Or maybe, like, I'm raising a superstar.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying, like, okay. Your kid is your... That's horrible, though. Don't make your kid your purpose, but, like...
Like, Taylor Swift's mom.
Yeah, like...
What's her mom's name? I don't know. I should know that as a Swiftie. Yikes.
Yeah, no idea. But, not to say that, you know...
Yeah.
Your life is nothing until you have kids or anything.
Right.
Some people do say that, but...
Well, no, I'm building...
You're building
the value
yourself up
for this thing.
Yes. Thing.
I don't know what it is.
It's a child.
It's a child.
It's human.
So...
Yeah. Everything you do today is building up who you're going to be in the future, and...
Even you rotting right now.
Yeah, even if you're rotting right now...
I understand.
It's building character.
Yeah.
But it is. And if you've been rejected a lot in life, we all have. Like, honestly. And if anyone says that they haven't, they're fucking lying. Like, nobody likes everybody. It's just a simple fact. And that's okay. No one should like everybody. What is that Taylor Swift line? Is it Taylor Swift? Where it's like, everybody's your friend, but really nobody's your friend. What is the line?
Girl, that does not sound familiar.
Yeah, maybe it's like... It is. He's everybody's friend. Girl, I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Comment it below if you don't know what I'm fucking talking about. But precisely, people have been rejected the existence of humanity and probably fucking animals and dinosaurs, okay? I don't know. Like,
oh,
the little dinosaur wanted
like
to have sex.
Like a little peacock, like, going like this with his feathers, and then it's like, no.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
The purpose of life was not fulfilled in that moment. No mating.
I think, like, people just in general need to have such a better grip or relationship with rejection. I think the world would just be a way better fucking place.
I think our generation is really going through that in our lives at the moment. Like, this is the stage we're in.
Yeah.
Boundaries, rejection, purpose, self-esteem.
Yeah.
Like, so many things.
I just think, like, rejection leads to so many other issues and ideas and concepts. Like, I think about, like, the male epidemic of it all. That is definitely related to rejection in some form.
Yeah,
like,
no, it is.
Women hating on other women, like, that is definitely a rejection thing.
Yeah, that plays a part.
I just think it plays a part in so many aspects that it's just like, if we all just understood, almost even like, I remember, like, I don't know if it was like this last year or when, but I had said, like, I want to seek out rejection.
Yeah, you did. You did your solo earlier this year.
Yeah, just for the fact of, like, I don't want to be so scared of it, or just, like, have it be this, like, anomaly that I'm, like, kind of, like
when it happens, of. You're like,
yeah, I don't want it to...
Instead, you'll be like, oh.
Yeah, I don't want it to take, like, over my entire body, and, like, for me to feel so warped by the experience. I just kind of want to, like, really understand that it's a redirection, or even so just be like, yeah, that fucking sucks.
No, I'm just thinking about when I got rejected at a bar by a man. If you can believe. So embarrassing.
It built some character.
Redirection, babe.
And now Sam will never go up to another guy.
I've literally gone up to, like, 2 men in my whole life, and it never doesn't seem worth it.
It seems like you don't have a grapple, is that the word?
Grasp.
Grappling.
Yeah.
Isn't that a word?
I'm grappling with, yeah.
Right, anyway.
You don't
have a grasp on the rejection in that form. And maybe that's something you should go seek.
So, like, see, I do in one aspect. I agree with you. But in one aspect, I think I have a grasp.
You're grappling?
A grip on it. In the way of, like, it doesn't affect me in the way where I'm like, oh my God, now I need to go home. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like, heartbroken or anything. But I'm just like, wow, that's fucking crazy. Like, my ego is like, oh. I'm just like, oh, gee. Okay. And that's why I don't go up to men, because I'm like, well, clearly if they're interested, then they'll fucking tell me, because everyone that I'm interested in is interested in me. Well, not everyone. But, I mean, that's even been true on the fucking apps. Like, every single person that has liked me on apps, I'm like, go away. No. There's so many things wrong.
You want the ones you can't have.
Why do you want me like the other boys do? They Turn me while I...
Yeah.
If you guys know that song. But, truly, that song prepared me for
life.
God. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously been men where we both liked each other, but anyways, I agree in the aspect that, like, I don't like going up to men because it's just, not because it's, like, embarrassing or, like, whatever. I just feel so firmly, deeply that I'm not gonna go up to men. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the sprinkle of it all, running it back to that concept of, like...
You're really identifying.
Like, I'm really identifying with that lately. But there's, like, genuinely thinking of concepts in life and, like, what this is what you're supposed to do, that's what you're supposed to do in anything, dating, living on your own, whatever, anything that people give advice on. There's so many that it's overwhelming, and then you're like, well, what actually is going to work for me? Right. And that's why sometimes it is good to force yourself out of your own bubble of, like, the way you do things or whatever. But at the same token, like, you just have to be true to yourself and, like, what you want to do. So there's, like, that weird balance of, like, this isn't even about rejection anymore, but, like, there's that weird fucking balance of, like, I guess, like, when you're rejected, of either taking someone's advice and following it, even if it doesn't feel true to you, or do you
Which would be, like, what kind of advice you mean?
I guess in that example, like, going up to every single guy that I think is attractive or whatever. Like, let's say that's someone's advice. It just feels so wrong to me. But on one hand, is that something I should do because, you know, I should push myself? Or is it something that won't end up going well because it's not authentic to me and I'm going to fail at it anyways or whatever? You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think it's, like, definitely a fine balance, because I feel like, obviously, if it doesn't feel like something, like, for example, on the other hand of, like, me wanting to seek rejection, I'm not dating, but, like, for me, mine was, like...
I went on a date!
Mine was more so, like, with, like, making friends or career moves, like, I'm seeking out the rejection so that I don't feel so fucking hurt by it anymore.
Yeah.
And, like, that's how I feel about it. And I could have just been like, I don't want my ego to get hurt. And, like, that's how I feel. Like, that, because I know that, like, doing that would only hurt me more, I guess. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess you have to have, like, the attitude and the desire to, like, want to get rid of it or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Because if you don't want to do that thing,
then it will
come off kind of weird.
I think it's also, like, you're just going to hurt yourself with no, like, purpose behind it in a way.
Because you're not... the lesson is, like, yeah, babe, don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just, like, the desire to get over a fear or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even, like, I'm thinking of, like, a job example. Like, someone telling you interview tips, but, like, things that just don't resonate with you at all. Like, why would I say or do that if, when it comes to the job itself, I'm not going to behave that way? Like, what's the point of
that's so
taking
true.
on your personality to get something and then not perform the way they thought I was going to? Like, you have to be genuine to yourself, I guess, at the end of the day. Even if you are being rejected, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to, like, change something about yourself either. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you learn that in a moment.
lot of times it does.
Like, sometimes it's like, oh, like, I learned in that rejection, like, I guess back to our business example, maybe, like, the way we were pitching or whatever just wasn't working, and that's part of the rejection. But in other ways, maybe it's like, it's just not the time. Like, the universe doesn't want your services.
At this
moment, right? So, like, there's that, you have to weigh out what's happening, and either way, you're being redirected. So it doesn't necessarily matter why it's not working unless you can make that change.
Right.
And I think we tried, you know, like, we tried different methods, we tried different marketing, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, once you reach the end of that, it's like, okay, well, then I guess it's just not the time.
Not the time.
Rejection.
Yeah.
She's a dirty
beast.
word.
She's hard to grapple with.
She's hard to also dish out.
What do you mean?
Dish out rejection.
Fuck yeah.
Right? Like,
for sure. Oh my god, we were just talking about this today. Because Logan, you've heard this story, but Logan had this, like, example of... Okay, well, let me backtrack. Yesterday, Brittany had, like, sold one of her, like, air filters on, like, Facebook Market or something. Or on Instagram, I don't remember where. But anyway. And the guy, like, didn't see her picture before. I don't know, whatever. And so then when she was like, hey, can I leave this on your porch? Like, because they're going to come and get it. She was like, I dropped my fucking smoothie a little bit in the box that was like, it had it in there, but nothing got on the actual like
right
thing. But she was just like, hey, to the guy, was like, hey, I just like, nothing got on it, but like I dropped a bit of my smoothie, just your FYI, like it's a little bit like inside box.
There's a little bit of mess. Yeah.
And he was like, okay, thanks. And then like he paid her, and then he was like, hey, I'm gonna go like out on a limb here. After seeing your photo on Venmo, like, why don't you send me the rest of your phone number? Because he had like some part of it. I'm crying. And I'll send you money for a new smoothie. Because she had dropped her smoothie. It was like such a pickup line.
He rizified.
He rizified. And I mean, she's like obviously taken, so it's not gonna like
was he
work.
Cute though, in your opinion?
I think he was sweet.
So no. So he wasn't. Okay. Understood.
But I was like, wow, amazing Riz, right?
Great Riz moment.
Yeah. And then she was like,
damn, I need to start selling things on Facebook Marketplace.
And she just basically said like, yeah, this was like incredibly like flattering.
Sweet.
Thank you so much. But like I'm in a relationship. I'm totally like not interested. But it reminded us of the story of like Logan going to freaking, I think she was at the Grove or something. I don't know if she took Harley this time because she went another time and she got hit on. But anyway, there was this other time where this man like came up to her and was like, oh my God, you are like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Like I'd love to take you out. And
how
like
does one respond?
Fully just like in awe and like being really kind or whatever. And Logan goes and says, oh my God, I'm not interested, but I just want to let you know how brave I thought that was.
That story kills
And she was
me.
like, and I just like, I want you to know you should not stop doing that. That's like, it will work on somebody, but it's just, it can't be me today.
The
and
rejection
like,
is
he was
redirection.
like so like,
was he a little butthurt?
yeah, but he like made the craziest face of like, okay, kind of thing. And then
like,
his friend was like laughing.
And
I'm like, when she came back to tell me the story that same day, I was like, babe, that is the meanest thing you could have ever said. Like, brave, out of all words. Wow. But anyway, yeah, rejection.
She literally was
hard.
like, you're so brave for telling me that I'm pretty because look at you. That's kind of what
he probably would have gotten from that.
But she didn't mean it that way, but
she was definitely like, I just want you to keep telling women and going up to women in this way because it'll work on somebody. Yeah, it just was.
I wonder if he has. If the rejection was a redirection to a different method.
Yeah.
Or if he's still trying.
But like, I don't know what I
rejection.
had that night that we went out with Linny, remember? Also some man came up to me, was like, I think you're the most beautiful girl in the bar, whatever. Yeah, and I was like, we're all like fucking exhausted, first of all, just like sitting like waiting for Linny to stop. No, she was actually falling asleep. Who were we waiting on? Oh,
we were waiting for the
Uber.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, thank you, but I'm like not interested. And he just goes and walks away, and I'm like,
I remember.
What
the one
is
that kept
wrong with people?
Around?
That was a different guy. That guy was creepy.
Yeah,
he could not get rejection. Like,
he didn't get the hints
he did not
of
get
rejection. You got to be really clear with that guy.
Well, no, it was like we were clear.
No, we were. He still didn't.
Logan kept going, she's not interested. Because he was like obsessed with Linny. He's like, she's not interested.
Yeah, he was
walk
obsessed
away.
with Linny. I forgot.
And he was like, she just kept saying like she's not interested.
Linny's dead.
She's half asleep.
Right now.
Like, what do you need? Go away.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
some people don't learn from rejection. And that's also a little scary. But
definitely.
Yeah, dishing it out is hard. I don't like being
the bearer of bad news.
The bearer of bad news, if it is. And like, not thinking about me getting rejected and those guys dishing it out. They didn't give a fuck.
No, men are ruthless.
Men are really ruthless. I mean, women sometimes are. Sometimes they're like, you're ugly, stop, or something. And I'm like, whoa.
Wait, did the Keanu Reeves one, like...
Keanu Reeves one.
There's this man who looked like Keanu Reeves.
He did.
And did he tell you he was gay?
I'm trying to remember that.
I feel like that was the vibe, but I don't remember what he said.
He was like... Oh, here's what he said. I said something like normally, what's your name? Whatever the fuck I said when I went up to him. And then he was like, oh yeah, my boyfriend's over there. And I was like,
for sure.
Oh, fucking kill me. And then he like, I mean, to be fair, he was probably the most attractive man in the bar. So he's probably like tired of being fucking come up to by drunk, tall women.
Yeah, no, not even tall women. Like there was a few other women's women's out there, who were like sloppy drunk and like would go up to him. I like saw that throughout the night.
Interactions.
Yeah, and then like you went up and I was like, dude, she's not drunk like these girls are. Maybe it happened.
Promise.
And he probably, I think it was just lit. Like an overstimulation for him.
And it's also really, yeah, I'm sorry, you're fucking beautiful. Your life is so hard, Keanu. So hard. 2.0, whatever. 0.2.
0.2 actually.
He's actually 2x. He's really tall. But whatever. That's why I just don't think it's the club scene for me to find my man.
And it shouldn't be.
I don't, right?
Maybe.
I don't want a man that likes going to the club unless I invite him. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
But also, like,
I don't want like an avid club goer. I just want someone that is occasionally.
Maybe that was a one night he went out with his friends.
That's fair.
Out of, like,
it's fair,
months. But just not gonna be you.
Yeah. Who knows?
Well, anyway.
Anywho, if you're dishing out rejection a lot, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. You're redirecting a ton of people to where they're supposed to go, and that's okay. And us getting rejected, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like HR people, they reject a lot. It's their whole job. But anyways, it's all headed towards your purpose, so it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's all we have on rejection for today. As always, please follow us on Instagram. I was going to say Twitter. We do not have a Twitter. It's not Twitter anymore anyways. X. And comment on Spotify. That's a cool new feature. YouTube. We love you guys if you're watching. And yeah, we'll see you guys in Glowing Hour.
Bye.